Hello everyone, my name is Khadija Ahmadi and today I'll be presenting my project on the social construction of gender. This topic is really important because gender shapes how we see ourselves, how others see us, and the opportunities we get in society. In this presentation, I'll break down where our ideas of gender come from, how we learn them, and why social construction matters. So, here is the agenda for today. I'll start with the difference between sex and gender, then explain what social construction actually means. After that, I'll go over how we learn gender from family, school, peers, and media. So, I'll also explain the concept of doing gender, compare biology and culture, and talk about the effects of gender norms on people. Then I'll discuss empathy and end with some questions. Sex versus gender. So, first, sex and gender are not the same thing. Sex is biological, it comes from physical traits like chromosomes, hormones, and anatomy. These traits are present from birth. Gender, however, is social. It includes roles, expectations, and behaviors that society teaches us. These expectations change depending on the culture and the time period. What is considered masculine or feminine is learned, not something we are born knowing. So, one example that shows this clearly is the history of colors. In the early 1900th century, pink was considered a boy's color because it was seen as strong. Blue was considered delicate and was used for girls. Later on, marketing flipped everything and pink became associated with girls instead. This proves that gender expectations are not biological, they are created through society. What does social construction mean? When we say something is social constructed, we mean that society creates the expectations and meanings around it. Gender is not natural or fixed, it is built through our culture, traditions, and social interactions. People learn how to perform gender based on what is expected of them. These expectations affect how we behave, how we dress, and even what opportunities we have in life. And because gender is socially constructed, it can change over time and across cultures. So, how we learn gender? We begin learning gender very early in life. First, family. Families teach gender expectations from childhood. This can show up through toys, chores, clothing, and even how emotions are handled. Second, school. Teachers, classmates, and school activities reinforce gender norms. For example, boys might be pushed towards certain sports, or girls might be expected to behave a certain way. Peers. Friends reward you for fitting in. They might tease or pressure if you go against gender norms. Media. Media also plays a huge role by showing stereotypes of masculinity and femininity. Social media, movies, music, these all influence how people think they should look or act. Doing gender. Doing gender means that gender is something we perform through our everyday actions. According to West and Zimmerman, people change their behavior to match society's expectations of masculinity or femininity. Society rewards people who fit these norms and punishes those who don't. For example, girls may feel pressure to shave their legs or dress a certain way, while boys might feel pressure to act tough or hide their emotions. Biology versus culture. There are biological differences between males and females, but biology cannot predict our personality, interest, or abilities. Western Ferry explained that men and women share more similarities than differences. Culture, on the other hand, shapes what is considered appropriate behavior for men and women. These gender norms are different in every culture and can change over time. This shows that culture has a bigger impact on gender than biology does. Effects of gender norms on people. Gender norms can have a really big impact on people's lives. They can pressure people into behaving or dressing a certain way. They can affect confidence, relationships, and mental health. Gender norms can limit career choices or opportunities, especially when people feel judged for breaking them. Overall, gender norms shape how people move through the world, even if they don't realize it. Building empathy. Building empathy means understanding how these expectations affect others. When someone breaks a gender norm, they might face teasing, exclusion, or unfair judgment. Understanding social construction helps us see why people struggle with gender expectations. So, some people also hide parts of themselves out of fear of being built or judged. So, supporting people's gender expression helps their emotional and mental well being. Here are a few questions to think about. First, have gender expectations ever affected the way you dress or act? Second, in our society, who do gender norms help and who do they limit? Third, why does it matter that gender is learned? These questions help us understand how gender influences daily life. These are the sources I use throughout my presentation, including Wade and Ferry, Lorber Ridgway, and Weston Zimmerman. These authors explain gender from a sociological perspective. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. If you have any questions or thoughts, I would be happy to answer them.